Today we're going to be talking about Bumblebee. Wait, not that one. Ayo, before we get too into this video, please subscribe, because look at those numbers, and it's actually worse. Right now, it's at 0.9. So, I mean, help me. But either way, today we're going to be talking about Bumblebee, as you've seen in the first few seconds of the video. And we're not talking about a twerking, literal Bumblebee, but, you know, from Transformers, obviously. And yes, I know I sound weird. Sinus is kicking my butt right now. The sinus I have right now, even Goku couldn't defeat, so it's pretty rough, aight. But either way, I just want to first start off by saying my favorite Bumblebee is the one from the Bayverse. I mean, partially because that's the one I grew up with, but after watching a lot of different versions of Bumblebee, he still is, because his character, to me, had the best, you know, character growth. He starts off as like a kind of like a childish kid to someone that could even be a leader. And there's also the Nightverse to talk about, but the reason why I can't really go too far into detail, he's only been in one movie, because the Nightverse is the newer Bumblebee that's going to be in Rise of the Beast. Those are two separate Bumblebees from the Bayverse. Those are two separate Bumblebees. Some people still don't know that. It's actually kind of shocking that people don't know that already, but either way, the Nightverse doesn't really have much to go off of yet. He's only been in one movie, so I can't really put too big of an opinion, but I like how they're going. It looks like they're going to do a very similar thing to what the Bayverse done, but I don't know. Who knows? And yes, I know in other types of media they've done the same thing with Bumblebee, making him go from childish to, you know, like leader material, but in my opinion, the Bayverse does it the best because they don't, like, make him lose his personality. It's like a slow growth over time rather than, like, a quick transition. And just to me, over all those movies, to me it just makes the most sense. It makes him feel more like a realistic, even though he's a robot alien, it makes it seem more realistic. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the Nightverse Bumblebee. The only thing I really have to say is, as you know, as sad as I am that they had to reboot some of these characters, and they're going to change them, you know, a little bit, I am excited to see what they're going to do with this Bumblebee, because he does seem like he's going to be a little bit more prominent. Because, I mean, he had his own movie, so there's probably going to be a Bumblebee 2 at some point because of how well it done. So, I mean, I'm actually pretty excited, considering that, you know, it's going to be a new Bumblebee, but, you know, I'm excited, alright? I can't wait to see Rise of the Beast and, you know, that movie as a whole. Alright, if you have not watched Transformers Prime, then go watch it. Leave this video. I don't even care for the view. You have to watch Transformers Prime. I don't care if I'm losing watch hours. You need to watch this. So if you haven't watched Transformers Prime, go ahead and watch it. Leave the video now. It's an amazing show. It's worth watching. Alright, now that I've said that, there will be spoilers if you haven't seen it. So, yeah. Okay, the first thing I want to say, I watched it as a kid, and I wanted to rewatch it since I'm older now, and, you know, I can look at something from a non-biased standpoint and see if it's still worth watching. And for it being a kid's show, I was completely entertained every single episode. I have never been able to watch a show every single day without getting bored in a long time since watching it. But today, I'm here to talk about Bumblebee specifically, not just Transformers Prime. So the spoiler is, Bumblebee is the one to kill Megatron. I know, who would have ever thought that Bumblebee would be the one to get his get back? This Bumblebee has been through so much, like he literally couldn't transform at one point, and bro used cars as skates. I mean, he's the one that killed Megatron in the end, so like, this dude is unstoppable. And it is just a very fun version of Bumblebee. The only thing that I would say that's really annoying is you can never understand what he's saying. Raph, the human that you're seeing on the screen for that second, he is the one that translates everything that Bumblebee says. I mean, you get the emotion, and after watching it, you can practically understand him yourself. But I mean, he's a very fun Bumblebee. He's, you know, very combat worthy. Anytime he shows up, you know it's going to be a good fight, because bro is not giving up. But to finish this off, this Bumblebee, he's funny at times. He's cool all the time. Bro is always ready to box. And this is just a very well done Bumblebee through the design, the character. And I mean, it is a kid's show, so you're not going to get the best, you know, character development throughout the show. But, you know, he has character development. Like I said, this show is definitely worth watching. It is definitely probably the best Transformer content I've seen in a while, because I rewatched it recently, and it was a very enjoyable Bumblebee. Now let's go to our next one. Now, this Bumblebee is from a continuation of Transformers Prime. I forgot what the show was called because I couldn't get through too many episodes without, getting super bored. Because for some reason, they're rated the same. They're both rated like 6-year-old. But the thing is, Transformers Prime, to me, is better than some anime out there. Like, it is just that good. Now, this one, this newer, I forgot what it's called. It's like Earth something, I think. But it's like the same way how Teen Titans go and the normal Teen Titans. That's practically the best way I can compare that. If you know like the original Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go, that's how this show feels compared to Transformers Prime. It's like, if they went off of this story and made it as dark as Transformers Prime, this would have been an amazing show, because it takes place as Bumblebee practically being, I forget, he's not the leader of, like, everything, but he's very high-ranking in whatever he is. I forgot what it is, but he's very high-ranking. People look at him the same way, like, people looked at Optimus, back in the day when he was still alive, because, he's dead in this universe. Because, he died in the movie in Transformers Prime, I think, but either way, you should know that there's spoilers, so you shouldn't be here anyways if you just got spoiled. But eventually he does come back to life in this show, because, it's for, like, 6-year-olds. I mean, Optimus comes back to life in live action anyway. But either way, this Bumblebee is very mature. He's very leader material. And, he's very simplistic because they didn't put that much effort into this show as they could. Because that's one thing I do want to talk about. Why don't they ever put as much effort into kid shows as they do adult shows? Just because it's for kids don't mean you can make a bad story. Like, it's a good story, but they make the characters so simplistic. Like, if you watch an old cartoon from like 10, 15, 20 years ago, I guarantee you they will have complex characters compared to like nowadays cartoons. And they could have done a lot better with this Bumblebee, because he had all the right, character development from Transformers Prime, because it's technically the same Bumblebee. I don't know, alright? But I don't recommend watching this show if you're older than 6 years old, because you are not going to be able to stay focused or entertained. But overall, it's just made for too much of a younger audience. But if it was made for like an older audience and their characters wasn't as simplistic, this would have been an amazing Bumblebee and show. But that's just how the television world works. They go from a serious amazing show with deeper characters and some like live action versions to like a show that's so kiddified that even 3-year-olds are like, man, this is kind of weird. But yeah, these are all my opinions on Bumblebee, and I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe, look at my numbers, it's sad, help me, and yeah.